Have you ever imagined, before the Russia-Ukraine war, that the politically educated Western audience would trust the Russian media outlets more than the big media conglomerates of the likes of the New York Times and CNN? Hello and welcome to TFI Global, the foreign affairs and geopolitical analysis arm of the TFI Media Group. I'm your host Vedika. Let's begin. The viewership of the media outlets that the world tags as Russian propaganda is 60 per month in the US, and you know what? It is on par with the Wall Street Journal, the pride of the left liberals. At the time when the Russia-Ukraine conflict started, the American and the European viewers were served content like Ukraine was always on the winning side, and Russians came to Ukraine only to kill themselves. From the likes of the Ghost of Kiev, thrashing tens of Russian aircraft, to the dangerous sniper volley killing Russians like never before, the Western viewers were made to accept that the sole superpower that exists on the earth is the United States of America, and Zelensky is the greatest leader the world has ever seen until now. But as the war continued and the myths started to burst, their consumers finally began to realize that all that was served to them was anything but true. The EU is becoming increasingly desperate to find new ways to harm Russia. They no longer have any weapons to donate to Ukraine, and the situation is getting more difficult due to rising inflation and political upheaval. As George R.R. Martin said, when you tear out a man's tongue, you are not proving him a liar. You are only telling the world that you fear what he might say. You tried to kill the truth by making it unavailable to the European people. It tried to fest people with propaganda by distorting and manipulating the facts. But truth can't be hidden for long, and the facts prove it. Let us look at some data to understand the situation better. Sputnik's international news website boasts more than 40 million hits from January to May 2022. Sputnik International's US-based audience increased from 29% of its entire audience in March to 41.5% in April and 42.9% in May. The consumption of content that the American company Microsoft designated as Russian propaganda has grown by 216% since the last week of February. Do these facts tell you something? Yes, the credibility of the big houses from the country, which calls itself the flag bearer of democracy, is running southwards, and the average American or European viewer is fed up with the narrative that has been pushed on them. At this stage of the Russia-Ukraine war, we can say that Brussels has failed to make the impact it intended from sanctions. It wanted to hurt the Russian economy, but it has drastically failed in its objectives. The sanctions have backfired, and now its own economy has been suffering. It has nothing to show for what it has achieved from the sanctions, which have caused a huge deal of suffering to the European people. The Western nations made every effort to attack Russian media sources like RT and Sputnik, reducing the traffic and shutting down social media channels. But all their efforts fell flat, and they failed miserably in forcing their narrative on Western society. RT and Sputnik rule the lives of American citizens, and the Western media houses just can't help it.